So we just kind of sat down. We were talking about what we want to accomplish during the session. Lily, correct?
Millie.
Millie. I'm sorry, Millie. Well, Millie kind of sat there at your feet, and you gave her permission to jump up. And then she's been basically licking you the entire time since she's gotten up there. Bentley jumped up on his own accord on the couch next to you, and you started kind of petting him. You were kind of had a little bit of a it's all right sort of vibe. Yeah. So when he gets nervous and anxious, like especially when guests arrived, you kind of try to reassure him, let him know, hey, this is a good person.
Yeah.
Okay. So for dogs, when they're in an unbalanced state, and it could be any type of unbalanced state, it could be aggression, it could be fear, it could be anxiety. Whatever they are doing at the time that we pet them is what we are agreeing with. So if we have a dog that's fearful and we pet the dog to try to placate it, which is natural human nature, especially for women because your maternal instincts kick in, you're actually nurturing that unbalanced state of mind. Oh. So I know it's contrary. That's one of the differences between human psychology and dog psychology. Yeah. So I have an exercise that I'm going to show you that will help change that. And it'll actually help the dog feel a little bit more confident because, I mean, some dogs will actually stay in an unbalanced, fearful state to try to continue to get the attention, or psychologically they start to identify the only way I deserve attention is by being anxious.
Yeah.
Oh.
And that's not a healthy way to be, obviously. So Millie just decided to jump up on her own. And how often does she do that where she sits on the top of the, obviously if there's a blanket there, I'm guessing it happens a lot.
Yeah.
Okay.
She's got a little,
She's got a pillow.
so this is like our other blanket, but this one right here is her little like pillow and blanket spot.
So for dogs, the higher they sit or stand, the more rank or status they have. So when we let dogs sit at the same height as us, we're saying we're equals. When we're equals, then listening to you is optional. So we don't have a leader-follower dynamic, we have a leader-leader dynamic. And so if you have a dog that's a little bit insecure and we pet it, we're nurturing that insecurity. Let me ask you this last little question before we'll kind of wrap up the segment. What rules do they have?
What rules?
Mm-hmm. You just welcome the young one into your family. I'm guessing when the young one gets to a certain age, you're going to start incorporating rules. You have to go to bed by a certain time. You have to make your bed. You have to clean up after yourself. You have to wash your hands before you eat.
Well, we're trying to do the no barking.
That's more of a wish.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess that would be no barking would be a rule, but it sounds like because they're doing it anyways, it's more of a wish.
Yeah.
I look at rules as things they want to do that they need permission to do. So no barking is kind of in that category, but again, we're not really achieving success at that. So I try to get a feel for like structure, like do the dogs have any rules or limits?
I don't know.
Not really.
Okay, so especially if we have an insecure dog. Dogs kind of go through life probing, waiting to be corrected or rewarded. That's actually where they find out where limits and boundaries are. So if we don't have any rules for them, that kind of conditions them into thinking, well, I have the same authority as the humans because there's nothing governing my behavior. Yeah. And so that can be, if you have a dog that's anxious, just like us, if you remember what your 16-year-old self was and the amount of stress you thought you had senior year or whatever, however you thought you were stressed out and it was the end of the world. If you compare the amount of stress that you have now being a new mother to that 16-year-old, it's like so basically as we go through life, our pressure and stress kind of gradually increases as our responsibility goes up. Yeah. And just like anybody else, if we're looked at as being in a leadership position, then there's more stress that comes with that responsibility. Sure. And so if she thinks that you're equals and she's looking for a job or a way to help you, maybe she thinks, well, I can help with security. So I'm going to bark and alert when people come by because she's trying to help and contribute to the pack. Mm. And so, and because we have no rules, she kind of feels like she has more responsibility than she probably does. Yeah. Does she ever come and nudge you with her nose, stick her nose under your hand and kind of bump up to try to ask you to pet her?
Millie or Bentley?
Either one.
Millie does.
Okay. So when they do that, they're basically kind of giving you an order, pet me, give me attention.
Yeah.
If we do that, then we're validating, yes, you can tell me what to do. So in that case, Millie thinks, hey, I have more authority than my humans because I can boss them around and they must agree with me because when I tell them what to do, they do it. So
yeah, she really does that, especially when she either wants to play or eat.
Sure.
Or she'll come up and she'll just start
Like whining.
Yeah.
barking at you.
Well, again, it kind of is a petulance because it works.
Yeah.
They wouldn't do it if it didn't work. So we're going to go over some rules and structure and some new ways of interacting with the dogs that are going to help them start to identify as being more of a follower. But this is kind of the introductory interview. I like to kind of sit down and get a feel for the rule structure. We'll talk a little bit about exercise off camera because we're getting a little bit long on time. But we definitely have some stuff to work with after this initial
Like
interview.
You can't get yourself chewing on her paws.
Yeah, we'll talk about that as well. All right.